Anora, by bloody Anora, bloody Nora, Anora. I want to talk about Anora, in case you didn't guess from me saying Anora lots and lots of times just then. Anora is a film by Sean Baker. I think she recently won the Oscar. The actress, actor. I don't. Is it actor? Can I say actress? I don't know. The actor is called. I forget her name. She's good. She's decent. I liked her in Better Things. This isn't about her. I'm not. This is not a criticism of her acting. It's not necessarily a critique, or it is a critique of the film. That is what it is. It's exactly what it is. I had a lot of hype about this film. One person in particular whose opinion I respect, and they've got great taste as far as I'm concerned. And so I went in with a mind of expectation, and I don't know. This is the grey area for me. When someone recommends a film to you, how many times does your excitement match their excitement about it? How often does that happen? I don't think it's ever happened with me when someone has said, "Oh my God, you need to watch this film. It's fucking incredible." And then I've watched it and I've gone, "Oh my God, you're right. It is fucking incredible." I can't think of a time where that's happened. So maybe there's a bit of a curse where someone recommends a film and then subconsciously your brain goes, it can't be that good. Their film taste is not better than mine. I'm the person with the good taste here, not you. I'm going to find a problem with it. So maybe that's what's happened, but I don't think it is, because I've sort of been percolating this for a while. I watched it ages ago, so I can't, my memory is a bit hazy as to what the details are. If you've not heard of Anora, it's basically about a core girl ends up meeting a Russian oligarch's son who's very young, very rich. He pays for sexy time with her. He just keeps paying money. They develop a connection. They go on a sort of joyride all over New York, is it? Wherever it is. And then it sort of slowly starts to fizzle out and decline. It starts to go like that. So it goes up like that. It goes up like that. The really, really exciting times, loads of money, loads of just opulence and sex and just having a great time together. And then eventually he's like, and then they get married. That's right, they get married. And Mickey, the actress's name is, he tries to introduce her to the family, his very powerful, rich family from back home. And they intervene, like, you're not marrying her, she's a sex worker, she's not good enough, this is ridiculous. And then so his dad's sort of henchmen come over to find him and break this marriage up and just give him a clip around the end and say, what the fuck are you doing? You bring shame on this family. And she's like, hey, who do you think you are? I'm nothing to be ashamed about. I'm a fucking woman, bitch. Don't fuck around with me. She's very outspoken. She's very aggressive. She's from the Bronx, I think. I think she's from the Bronx in New York City. And so she doesn't take any shit from anybody. And I think that's empowering. Just to see a woman doing that, I think is great. It's not about that. That's not what my criticism is. The story itself has been told. We've seen Pretty Woman. We've seen things of that nature. There's a romance there told for a new audience. It's a romantic story. It looks great. It's very exciting. There's a great energy to it. But for me, where it falls down is it gets way about halfway through. And I'll hold my hands up. I skipped through a lot of the second half because I got very bored. It's the particular midpoint for me is when they're at the lad's house. She's there, Mickey is there, and the dad's henchmen come to the house. They sort of break their way in. The long and short of it is they're like, show us your marriage certificate. Like, we need to believe this is real. They go upstairs. Mickey is sort of left, sort of sitting, like, what the fuck is going on? And then he shows the the henchman the marriage certificate, and he's like, fucking hell, I can't believe you've done this. There's a bit of a kerfuffle. The lad does one, leaves Mickey there. She gets sort of like into a scrap with one of the henchmen. She gets sort of tied up and gagged because she's just fucking irate and screaming and blah, 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 blah. The lad does one, and then they're like, where the fuck is he? We should go and find him. And then, so they all get in a car and they go and find him. That scene, I think that took half an hour. And for me, that is just it's not cool, man. It's not cool. I don't think that is good acting. I'm not saying that they are bad actors. I'm saying the direction for me, and the fact that Sean Baker has complete agency over this film and didn't see that this is plot, and then there's plot, and then there's just fucking self-indulgence. You're getting your actors to not literally, unless it's Titanic, tread water in this scene, which could have been told in 5-10 minutes. We don't need it was just constant shouting, swearing. Hey, what's going on? Hey, no, don't talk to her like that. Hey, what's going on? You don't got to talk to me like that, you bitch. Sure, you're a bitch, blah, 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 blah. Oh, it just kept like a fucking Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, like, which, again, it sticks to plot. Sometimes the scenes get too long. You're like, come on, let's fucking move on. Because after a while, it just gets stressful for the watcher. And then you start questioning the integrity of the filmmaker, because the filmmaker's just fucking wanking over how good he thinks the acting is. And it's not. The actors are only as good as the direction. You're not giving them enough to do, because we're just repeating ourselves here. Like, where's the story going? Let's move the story along. And the story itself was fucking dumb anyway, because I think he just goes out the front door, like mid-argument. And like, hey, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? And I don't know what, he just mumbles something and he's away. Like, well, what? Why don't you just fucking go after him? What, the simple fix there is that he goes upstairs, he says, right, I'll go and get the marriage certificate, don't worry. And then they're waiting. And then he goes upstairs and checks the bedroom, goes in the bedroom, the window's open, and he's fucking legging it down the road. That's it. Job done. That's okay. Thank you. Next scene. Move the fuck on. Edit the film. Shoot in another bit of the house, rather than just fucking sitting in this soup of shit for half an hour. Get on with it. Fucking come on. And then there's a few scenes where they're driving around looking for the lad. She goes into this shop that they used to go in, and then it's like a fucking Benny Hill sketch. Basically go to this location, smash the place up, it devolves into an argument, move on somewhere else. Oh, we're going to sit in the car for a bit. Then something's going to devolve into an argument again. Then we're going to devolve into another argument. Then we're going to start shouting at each other. Then we're going to devolve. And then after a while, you just stop caring. You're like, well, I don't care if they find this kid. The kid's obviously a piece of shit. She's just on this one note all the time of like belligerent, fucking hard-faced. Until the very end, where there's a change in tone. There's which I won't spoil for anyone. But by the time you got there, you're like, you've not offered me anything really, in terms of what is, essentially a character study. You want the characters to be interesting, to have something else to say. And that doesn't hold up if the plot isn't there, if the filmmaker isn't there going, okay, we've told this part of the story now. We're not getting any more information for the viewer. So the viewer is left just to sort of withstand this barrage of shouting. And it's just not, it's not dynamic. It's not interesting. It's not disciplined. It's lazy. And I think people mistake that level of emotion for good acting. I don't think it's good acting. I don't think it's good direction, more importantly. As I say, I think all the actors are good and they did well, for what my opinion's worth. but I have a hard time watching films that are just, the actors are just let off the leash and the director just sits behind the camera, just, you know, basically just thinking, oh, this is making what a piece of art this is. And obviously I'm in the minority because she won an Oscar. Again, good performance, bad direction. Anyway, I'm going to look at some reviews here and see if anyone agrees with my hot take on this. Maybe you disagree with me. There's another film called Uncut Gems, which I had similar issues with. Films like that are just stressful to watch. And the stress comes from, like, I'm just sitting here watching people shout, watching people have a very bad time. What is the story telling me? And then by the time you get to the end, you're like, okay, that's what the story's doing, but I don't care now. It's too late. It's too little too late. You've robbed me of that time where you could have told that story. Get rid of 45 minutes. 45 minutes of that film was not needed. You can quote me on that. Fucking come at me if you think I'm wrong. Come at me, bro. I've been to the gym quite a lot recently, and I've got a PT. I'll fucking give you one of them. I'll give you a knuckle sarnie. Let's have a look. Let's go to the 4-star reviews. Anora was a solid movie that was surprisingly heartbreaking, despite having to hunt this movie down. Yes, you're going to see lots of sex and immaturity and hubris and chaos and New York on screen, but you might be surprised by the deeper connection that unfolds in an unlikely place. Mickey Madison is not Mickey, I'm not sure. It's not only glorious to watch, but her supporting cast gives as much. It could have used another round of editing. No shit. Sherlock Holmes. Some of the searching for Vanya sequences were starting to get tedious. Vanya is the young lad. But you actually do witness the evolution of a young woman into adulthood. Just because she's going through the motions of playing an adult didn't make her one. The same, possibly a spoiler, can't be said for the emotionally stunted Vanya. It's an interesting story, given that arc, where one lad is sort of giving it the big un, thinking that he wants love, but he's so immature and just sort of void of emotional maturity. He just sort of flatlines a bit, whereas she does have an arc, but it just takes a while for her to get there, and she's kind of forced into that, learning those hard lessons. Well, as I say, it starts off up there, it's all great, there's a huge energy and this sort of celebration of just partying and having a great time, and then to come down from that, I think is a good, it's very, that's watchable. But the tedious long scenes without any edits, it's the style over substance for me. Doesn't work for me, and filmmakers should know better. But if it wins an Oscar, I'm just shouting into the void again, aren't I, really? More Tales from the Void. More audience reviews. Let's see the 1 stars, please, so I feel seen and heard, like my opinion is valid. The Me Too movement, let's not go down that road. Anora is a frustratingly hollow film that prioritizes superficial aesthetics over meaningful storytelling. While it boasts moments of visual flair, the film collapses under the weight of its implausible plot, undeveloped characters, and a tone that can't decide whether it wants to be a gritty drama or farcical satire. The narrative, which hinges on absurd twists and contrived scenarios, feels more like a series of disjointed ideas than a cohesive story. The characters are thinly written, making it impossible to invest in their journeys. The lead performance, though technically competent, is undermined by a script that gives her little to work with. Yes, I agree with you, Jaboye Alam Rudro. Joe Bayer, I agree with you wholeheartedly. She's given very little to work with. The most disappointing is how the movie squanders its potential. It tries to tackle themes of love, ambition, and identity, but ends up feeling shallow and pretentious. The Oscar win is baffling. It lacks the emotional depth and authenticity that define truly great cinema. Anora is a prime example of style over substance. Just said it, Jabuya. Leaving viewers more annoyed than moved. A forgettable film with an undeserved spotlight. Yep, 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 yep. I've just read one of your other reviews that said Anora was most likely the best film they had ever seen. I thought they should go get medical help immediately. I believe it may be the worst film I've ever seen. My takeaway is that I signed up for a membership with Regal, and if I watch a horrible movie, I can get back 2 hours later and watch some other movie at no extra cost. The time spent with Anora, I can never get back. If you were a 12-year-old male who dreamed of having sex someday and playing video games during sex, then this would be a cinematic masterpiece. Can't disagree with you. It was the stupidest no-plot movie I've ever seen. There must have been a Russian-American creator, director, producer that said, I wonder what Americans are into. I bet they'll like this. No, I don't think they're Russian. Sean Baker, I don't think is Russian. They like flashy stuff. They'll like disco lights, snorting coke. They like sex scenes that really, yeah, they'll just, in their defenses. I guess the writers in general, they just, yeah. Again, the 12-year-old me would have very different views on this film. After trudging through this overly long movie last night, it's hard to believe it won the Palme d'Or at Cannes and it is nominated for an Oscar. The third part of the film is sexy and cute. Is Annie and Ivan get to know each other? Yeah, that's one of the henchmen. That's the next phase of the story that comes in the final act, but it's too little too late by that point. At that point, I was literally just skipping through just reams and reams of inconsequential dialogue that didn't serve the story nor the character. Right, so I think that's that. I think I've made my points. I think I've said everything I want to say about that. I'm not pissing on Sean Baker. He seems like a... Oh, hang on. What was that then? Control and M. What's happening there? Sean Baker, I saw his acceptance speech. Seems like a lovely fella. There's nothing malicious about this. I just have very strong opinions on what I think good filmmaking is. And for the reasons I've just said, it doesn't warrant the amount of hype and the amount of applause that it's gotten. It doesn't warrant that, because a better filmmaker would know that just storytelling in general, just try and stick to the story rather than people actors having to resort to shouting. It was exhausting to watch. And that's all I have to say about that. Okay, that's that. If you liked Anora, please let me know your comments below. If you didn't like Anora, also let me know. Am I being unreasonable? Am I being unfair? I don't think so. I think I've been quite articulate and intelligent about the whole affair and mature, So let's play a game.